In every research study, it's not enough to simply state a problem or gather data. You also need to make the predictions about what you expect to find. This is where the research hypothesis comes in. The hypotheses act like a compass, pointing the directions of the study and linking your variables together. And it allows our researcher to move from guessing to testing and from assumption to evidence. Before we go deeper into the research hypothesis, let us first understand why it is important and how it gives focus to the entire research process. So good day, everyone, future nurses. Let's proceed to our topic and let's talk about research hypothesis. A research hypothesis is a clear, specific, and testable statement that predicts the relationship between two or more variables in a study. It is considered the guiding foundation of the research because it provides directions for how the study will be conducted, what data will be collected, and how the result will be interpreted. In simple terms, it is like an educated guess that researchers want to test through evidence. By stating a hypothesis, the researcher set a focus for the investigations and creates a basis for proving or disproving assumptions. For example, a hypothesis such as a student who get at least 8 hours sleep before an exam will score higher than those who sleep less predicts the relationship between the sleep durations, the independent variable, and exam performance for the dependent variable. This makes the study measurable and testable, ensuring that the research contributes to the knowledge rather than being just an opinion. These are the characteristics of hypothesis. Number one, we have your testability. A good hypothesis must be testable, meaning that it can be verified or disproven through the research methods such as experiments, survey, or observations. The variables should be measurable or observable so that the data can be collected and analyzed to support or reject the statement. Another one, we have your anticipated relationship. A hypothesis predicts a possible relationship between two or more variables, so it specifies how one variable may affect the other or the another, providing directions for the researcher to investigate and prove whether the expected outcomes holds true. Next, we have your logical and justifiable. The hypothesis should be reasonable and grounded in logic. It must not be based on assumptions without support. Instead, it should be stemmed from prior knowledge, existing theories, or reliable evidence, making the predictions rational and defensible. Next one, we have based on the research problem. So every hypothesis must directly align with the research problem and it serve as a proposed solutions or possible answer to the research questions, ensuring that the study stay focused and relevant to the main issue being investigated. Next one, theoretically and factually based. A strong hypothesis draws from established theories, concepts, and factual informations. So by being anchored in previous studies and real-world data, the hypothesis gains credibility and avoids being purely speculative or unsupported. Next one, we have your set limits of the study. A hypothesis helps narrow down the scope of the research by specifying the variables and the relationship to be studied. It prevents the researcher from going beyond the intended focus, making the study manageable and well-defined. And lastly, accepted or rejected. A hypothesis is not automatically true. It must undergo testing based on the research finding. Either can be accepted that is supported by evidence or rejected not supported by evidence. So this process contributes to the growth of knowledge by validating or refuting the predictions. Next, these are the purposes of hypothesis. Hypothesis unify theory and reality. A hypothesis serves as a bridge between abstract theory and actual reality. It connects what is already known or theorized with what can be tested in practice. So by linking ideas to the real world observations, hypotheses make theories meaningful and applicable in research. Next one, hypothesis propose expected results. A hypothesis gives the researcher a predictions of what might happen in the study. It provides tentative answer to the research problem by suggesting possible outcomes that can later be tested and confirmed through systematic investigations. Next one, it is start with investigations. Every research begins with hypothesis because it identifies what the researcher intends to study. It sets the stage for inquiry by defining the problem, focusing the research process, and motivating the search for evidence to support or refute the claim. Next one, hypotheses help in verifying the observations. A hypothesis allows researchers to test whether their observations are accurate or coincidental. By comparing collected data with the predicted outcomes, researchers can validate findings and ensures that the results are reliable and not due to chance. Next, hypothesis gives direction to research. A well-formulated hypothesis guides the entire research process by identifying which variables to study and what relationship to examine. It prevents unnecessary wandering and keeps the researcher focused on the main objective of the study. And last one, we have your hypothesis enhanced knowledge. So by testing hypotheses, researchers either confirm existing ideas or discover new insights. So this process contributes to the growth of knowledge since every acceptance or rejections of a hypothesis expand understanding and open opportunities for further studies. Next, the sources of a hypothesis. When we say inductions, that is a process of formulating a hypothesis by moving from specific observations to general statement. In this method, researchers gather facts, patterns, or experiences from the real-life situations and then generalize them into possible explanations or predictions. Okay, so for example, if a teacher observed the students who actively participate in class discussions tend to perform better in exam, they may form the hypothesis. So active class participation improves academic performance. So induction is commonly used when there is no existing theory yet, and the researcher relies on evidence from repeated experiences or observed trends to build a testable hypothesis. So another example is flash on your screen. Okay? Next one, we have your deductions. Deduction is the process of formulating a hypothesis by moving from general principle or theory to specific predictions. In this method, researchers start with established theories, laws, or known facts, and then derive a logical hypothesis that can be tested in a particular context. So for example, based on the general theory that exercise improves overall health, a researcher may deduce the hypothesis regular aerobic exercise reduces stress levels among college students. So the deductions ensures that the hypothesis is grounded in existing knowledge and provide a logical pathway to the test whether the theory applies to a new specific situations. These are the guidelines in formulating the hypothesis. The hypothesis, not stated problem, are subjective to empirical testing through data collections and analysis. So in research, the problem defines the area of concern, but it is the hypothesis that becomes the actual focus of the testing. The hypotheses provide specific, measurable predictions that can be tested through the collections and analysis of data. So this ensures that the study is not just about identifying a problem, but also about providing evidence-based answers or solutions. Number two, hypotheses follow the theoretical framework of the study. A well-formulated hypothesis must be anchored on the theoretical framework that support the research. This means it should be consistent with existing theories, concept, or principle that explain the relationship among variables. By doing so, the hypothesis is not only logical, but also scientifically credible and connected prior knowledge. Third one, hypotheses are stated in declarative form. Hypotheses should be written as clear, declarative statement rather than asked questions. A declarative form expresses a direct predictions about the relationship between variables. So for example, instead of asking, does sleep affect academic performance? Hypothesis state, students who sleep at least 8 hours before an exam will have higher academic performance than those who sleep less. Fourth one, Hypotheses should be formulated before the conduct of the study. Researcher must develop their hypothesis prior to the starting the actual research. So this is important because it avoids bias and ensures that predictions are not influenced by the data already collected. Pre-formulated hypotheses also help in designing the study properly, including the selection of the tools, methods, and strategies for data gathering and analysis. And last one, hypotheses also relate the problems raised in the study. So every hypothesis must be aligned with the research problem to ensure focus and relevance. The hypothesis translate the broad problem into a specific and testable statement, serving the bridge between the problem and the methods of investigation. So these connections ensures that the result directly address the issues the study aims to resolve. These are the types of hypotheses. We have your simplex, complex, directional, non-directional, research or alternative, and then we have your statistical or null. Let's start with your, always remember in this one, note the x is the independent variable, which is the cause, and y is the dependent variable, which is the effect. Simple hypothesis. Simple hypothesis is the most basic form of hypothesis because it predicts the relationship between only one variable or only one independent variable and one dependent variable. It is also known as a univariate hypothesis since it involves just two variables that are directly connected. So this type of hypothesis is easy to test because it focuses straightforward cause and effect relationship. So example, 'di ba, yung independent variable natin is the height of people. So that is tall or short. And then your dependent variable, we have the amount of food eaten. So the hypothesis predicts that the tall people will eat more than the short people, showing a direct link between one cause, which is the height, and one effect, which is the food consumptions. Simple hypotheses are often used in a beginner level research because they are easier to design, measure, and analyze compared to the complex one. Next, we have your complex hypothesis. The complex hypothesis goes beyond in a simple cause and effect relationship because it involves two or more independent variables and or two or more dependent variables. This type of hypothesis is also called multivariate hypothesis since it examines multiple factors at the same time. Complex hypotheses are common in advanced research where phenomena are influenced by many variables rather than just one. So example, independent variable, the height of people, which is the tall and short, and the caloric intake, which is high and low. The dependent variable, weight of people, the hypothesis predicts that all tall people with high caloric intake tend to weigh more than short people with low caloric intake. Here, both height and caloric intake combine to influence the outcome, which is the weight, showing a more realistic picture of the real-world conditions where multiple factors interact. So meaning, complex hypotheses are powerful because capture the multifactorial nature of human behavior and health, but they require more advanced method for data collections, analysis, and interpretations compared to the simple hypothesis. Next one, the directional hypothesis is a type of research hypothesis not only predicts a relationship between variables, but also specify the directions or nature of the relationship. In other words, it tells us how one variable will affect other, whether it will increase, decrease, improve, or worsen the outcome. This makes it more precise than a non-directional hypothesis, which only state that a relationship exists without saying in which way. Example, independent variable, we have the heroin addiction status of a mother. So, heroin addicted versus non-heroin addicted. The dependent variable is birth weight of infants. So, the hypothesis states that infants of heroin addicted mother will have lower birth weights compared to infants of non-heroin addicted mothers. So, here the direction of the relationship is clear. Heroin addictions negatively affect the infant's birth weight. So meaning directional hypotheses are useful when there is strong theoretical or empirical evidence from past studies that suggest specific outcomes. They help the researcher focus their data collections and statistical analysis toward confirming or disproving that expected directions. Next, we have your non-directional hypothesis. Predicts that there is a relationship between the variables but does not specify the exact nature, direction, or extent of that relationship. It simply suggests that the independent variable will influence the dependent variable, but it leaves the outcome more open-ended. So this type of hypothesis is often used when there is a limited prior research or when the researcher wants to explore possibilities without making a precise predictions. For example, independent variable, the maternal drug addictions, not specified what type. And then the dependent variable is the birth weight of infants. So the hypothesis here states that infants of addicted mother have lower birth weights compared to infants of non-addicted mothers. So unlike the directional hypothesis, this one does not specify the exact type of addictions. Example dito, di ba, yung heroin, alcohol. Nor does it strictly define the direction in terms of how much lower the weights will be. So the weakness of the non-directional hypothesis is that the result can be influenced by extraneous variables. Okay, so making the finding less precise. However, they are useful in exploratory research where the researcher is trying to uncover possible relationship without biasing the outcome with expectations. Okay, a research hypothesis is also called alternative hypothesis. Is a clear statement that predicts the expected relationship between the independent and dependent variables. It suggests that there is a significant effect or difference between the group or conditions being studied. Unlike the null hypothesis, which assumes there is no relationship, the research hypothesis assumes that the independent variables does influence the dependent variable in some measurable way. So example, di ba? Independent variable is the maternal heroin addictions. And then the dependent variable here is the birth weight of infants. So the hypothesis predicts that there is a significant relationship between maternal heroin addictions and the infant's birth weight. So this can be stated in two ways. Comparative statement. Infants born to heroin addicted mothers have different birth weights than those born to non-heroin addicted mothers. In a statistical form naman na, there is a significant relationship between maternal heroin addictions and infant birth weight. Okay, so in additions or in research, the research hypothesis is what time investigator wants to prove or support with evidence. It guides the data collections, analysis, and interpretations, aiming to confirm that a meaningful relationship exists between the variable. Next, you have your statistical hypothesis, also known as null hypothesis. This is a statement that assumes there is no significant relationship or difference between the independent and dependent variable. So it serves as the default or baseline assumptions that the researcher serves or seek to test and possibly reject. So the purpose of null hypothesis is to provide a starting point for statistical testing where researchers use data to determine if the observed result could have occurred by chance or if there is enough evidence to support the alternative hypothesis. So example again, the independent variable is maternal heroin addictions and your dependent variable is birth weight of infants. So the null hypothesis states that there is no significant relationship between maternal heroin addictions and infant birth weight. In other words, it assumes that the birth weights of infants born to heroin addicted mothers are not different from those infants born to non-heroin addicted mothers. So in research, the statistical or null hypothesis is tested through statistical analysis. If the result shows significant difference, the null hypothesis is rejected in favor of the research, which is the alternative hypothesis. If not, the null hypothesis is accepted or retained, meaning no relationship is found. Okay, the statement of hypothesis. We have your theoretical form and conceptual form. A theoretical hypothesis is statement derived from existing theory or conceptual framework. So it predicts the relationship between the variables based on the logical reasoning or established theoretical principle rather than just observations. So it provides a broader, more abstract explanation for why many variables should be related. So it serves as the foundation for research hypotheses which are then tested empirically. Theoretical hypotheses often use concept and link them to explain the phenomena. So for example, mga anak dito, based on the Bandura social learning theory, one may hypothesize. So children who observe aggressive role model that is independent variable are more likely to display aggressive behavior that is dependent variable. Here, the theoretical foundation in social learning, which is the behavior is learned through observation and imitation. So in short, theoretical framework or theoretical hypothesis that is abstract, grounded in theory. Okay? Next one, we have your operational form. That is hypothesis stated in terms of a specific, measurable, and observable variable. So it translates abstract concept from the theoretical hypothesis into practical variables that can be tested through research. So it removes the vagueness by defining how variable will be measured or observed. It ensures that the hypothesis is empirically testable through the data collections and analysis. And it provides clear indicators for both independent and dependent variables. Okay? So in example here, there is no significant relationship between the amount of nutritional intake and the degree of complications among pregnant women. So, paano ba ito? So, in short, uh, operational hypothesis that is concrete, measurable, testable definitions of those concepts. Okay? So, in summary mga anak, hypotheses serve as the backbone of any research study, providing both directions and focus to the investigations by clearly stating the expected relationship between variables, whether it is theoretical or operational forms. Researchers are able to transform abstract ideas into measurable realities, understanding the different types of characteristic, purposes of hypothesis, not only sharpen the critical thinking, but also ensure that the research remain logical, testable, and grounded in evidence. Ultimately, a well-formulated hypothesis bridges the gap between the theory and practice, guiding the researcher toward meaningful discoveries and an advancement of knowledge. So that is for our research hypothesis. Thank you for listening. These are the research interactor for our nursing research one. Thank you everyone and God bless.